Hello everyone and welcome to Kimbrough's Quest, day 4, around the world in 14 days. We're going to Greece today. Our fitness focus today is speed, agility, and power level 1, okay? So the climate in Greece is warm. It's a Mediterranean climate, but it has dry and hot summers. Greece is in Europe. As far as ethnic groups, there are the Greeks, which make up the majority of the population. Albanians, Romani, and Pomaks are just a few of the other minorities there. The languages spoken, the 3 main languages are Greek, Albanian, and Turkish. All right, here we go with our start our heart. You're going to start with your dynamic warm-up.
All right, everybody, we are going to do your start your heart, aka your warm-up. We are going to start with your dynamic warm-up, okay? So the point of this is to bring your heart rate up safely and get your muscles warmed up safely. We are going to complete the following exercises in your own space. When you hear me say switch or you see me do a thumbs up, you're going to switch to the next exercise. I will be modeling the exercise as well as telling you what they are as we go. You want to make your transitions as quick as possible, okay? So we're going to start with Frankenstein. So in your spot, Frankenstein's begin. And that's just opposite arm to opposite foot. Keeping your back, you don't want to hunch, you don't want to do this. Keep your back up nice and straight. Got about 5 more seconds. Switch. We're going to go to butt kickers. So you're kicking your butt. Make sure your heel comes up to your butt. Just warming up. Keep it nice and loose. The paint's falling down. Switch. We're going to high knees. Really make sure you bring them up. Switch. Now we got those forward lunges. Really make sure, notice I'm coming back, bringing my feet together before keeping my back up nice and tall. So we got 4 sprints, ready, and switch, sprint. And switch, sprints again. We're doing 4 of these. Switch. Switch. Last one. Okay, switch. Now you have 2 20-second intervals of choice. You don't have to do jumping jacks. And switch. I'm going to do some side lunges. You don't have to do this. If there's something else you know you want to do, go for it. This is your choice. And time. Now, I need everybody to show me your water bottle. You have it ready to go? Hope you're showing me. Have it ready.
All right, static stretching.
So now we are going to move on to the static stretching portion of our Start Your Heart warm-up. So the goal of this is to stretch your muscles now that they're nice and warm, so we can make sure that our whole entire body is warmed up safely. So we are going to start, just follow along, head side to side 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Head up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shoulder rolls, front 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to do an arm across stretch. This one goes for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have side stretch, so we're going to reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we have quad stretch. This one, if you balance, remember I always tell you to grab your ear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And toe touch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that is our static stretching portion. We are ready to go.
Right now we are going to discuss our daily challenge, our questions for the day, and our vocabulary. Our daily challenge today will be I will be able to test my speed during the stayed by running 252 steps as fast as I possibly can. So if you run it in 45 seconds or less, you get 12 points. 46 to 60 seconds, you get 8 points. 61 to 70 seconds, you get 4 points. And more than 70 seconds, 2 points. Our questions for the day. What are speed, agility, and power? Why are speed, agility, and power important in sport and physical activity? What sports, physical activities involve speed, agility, and power? And what is the difference between health-related fitness components and skill-related fitness components? I also had a correction, so I said in our last one that intensity for muscular endurance was sets and reps, but it is not. It is still measured by volume lifted, even though you are lifting at sub-max force. So my apologies. Intensity for muscular endurance is still volume lifted, but just not at max force. Here's our vocabulary: speed, agility, power, concentric contraction, eccentric contraction, and anaerobic exercise. All right, everybody, we are to our water break and RPE check. Now remember, rate of perceived exertion can be determined 2 ways, either by your heart rate, with 2 fingers on the neck to find your pulse, or by the talk test. So if you can hold a conversation with moderate breathing, which I hope you can't at the end of that interval, but if you are, you should be about a 4 to 6. If you're about 76% to 85% of that max heart rate with very heavy breathing and not able to complete more than 2 sentences, probably about a 7-8. And notice that's when we go from aerobic to anaerobic, meaning we're not using oxygen for energy. So we can sustain higher intensity exercises, but for shorter amounts of time. If you cannot complete sentences with even heavier breathing, you're probably at about a 9. And if you're 93 to 100% of your max heart rate, you're probably at about a 10. And remember, in high intensity interval training, it's important to stay between that 65 to 90% max heart rate. You want to stay somewhere in that zone. Ideally, you should shoot up towards that 90%, and then your heart rate comes back down towards about 60 or 70% of your max heart rate, and it keeps doing that over and over again. That's why it's interval training. Hello, everybody, and welcome to round one, the Stade. The Stade was the first Olympic event in history for the first 13 years, actually, of the Olympics. It involved sprinting in a straight line 192 meters. There's a picture of the arena that they would race in right there. From 776 to 724, that was the only Olympic event, which is pretty cool. So you are going to be running the Stade today. You are measuring speed. Okay, when we talk about speed, remember, we are talking about the ability to move our body and all of its parts as quickly as possible, okay? So, how this is going to work is 192 meters equals about 630 feet or 252 steps, okay? So, your job is to see how fast you can run 252 steps. You're going to take as many trials as you can within a 5-minute period, and you are going to record your best one. Now, your fastest trial. If you get 45 seconds or less, that's 12 points that goes on your passport. 46 to 60 seconds, 8 points. 61 to 70 seconds, 4 points. And if you get more than 70 seconds to complete it, it's 2 points. So the faster you go, the more points you get. You're welcome to use my clock, or you can use your own. You're just measuring 252 steps, jogging in place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the way to 252. You need to keep track as you count. And remember, record your best time. You can do as many trials as you want, and you can rest as many times as you want, but you need to do at least 3 trials. Ready, here we go. Here's my first trial. About 59 seconds. And then you rest as you need. Second one took me about a little bit longer because I stopped. Let yourself recover in between. If you want to do more than 3 trials, go for it. that one was 50 seconds. So my best time was 50 seconds. So I'm going to record 50 seconds on my passport, which means I got 8 points. Now, whenever we talk about speed, okay, we also need to think about something called anaerobic exercise. We talked about aerobic exercise, where you use the oxygen that you breathe in, that goes into your blood, for energy. Anaerobic exercise does not use oxygen from your blood as energy. It's exercise that is high in intensity, so like we just did, the sprinting intervals, but shorter in length. So you notice you didn't run the entire time at that speed. And it uses converted glucose, which is sugar, as energy, but not oxygen, because the blood cannot provide the body enough oxygen that is needed for this activity. Because like I said, they're very high in intensity. And with speed, we're moving our body and all of its parts as quick as we possibly can. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to round 2 Pygmachia, okay? This is ancient Greek boxing, okay? The word Pygmachia means fist fighting, literally, okay? So the rules were a little bit different than regular boxing. There were no holds allowed, no ring, so there were no boundaries, okay? Which is pretty weird. There was no time limit, and opponents were selected by chance, not by weight class, which is kind of scary. The players were encouraged to play defensively by swerving and dodging, which is why they did not have any boundaries, okay? So we are going to be talking about agility and power in this exercise, okay? So moving back to our vocabulary. So power is the ability to move each body part quickly while applying max force of the muscle in use. So examples of this are like kicking a soccer ball to score a goal. Vertical jump is a good measure of power. And agility is the ability of the body to change direction and position while maintaining constant speed. So, why are these important in sport and physical activity? You need to be able to move your body parts quickly with max force, and you also need to be able to adjust for direction. I can think of several sports that involve both agility and power. Boxing, football, baseball. Basically every sport involves agility, power, and speed in some form, and physical activity, okay? So, here's how this is going to work. We are going to do the Pygmachia agility test. Okay, so it'll be 5 minutes long, okay? I'm going to teach you the commands really fast, and then we're going to do 5 minutes, and you're just going to have to listen to the commands that I say and follow along, okay? So if you see me say duck, you're just going to duck. So it's just the duck. If you hear me say swerve, swerve, okay? If you see me say strike, you're gonna punch with that front hand. Strike. Cross, you're gonna punch with the back hand, okay? If I say switch, you're going to change directions. Switch, change directions, okay? If I say right, you're going to move to the right. And if I say left, you're going to move to the left. If I say boxer shuffle, you're here. And if I say jump rope, you know that, all right? All right, here we go. Start with boxer shuffle. Duck. Swerve. Strike. Strike. Cross. Cross. Stay in boxer shuffle unless I tell you otherwise. Switch. Switch. Move right. Strike. Move left. Duck. Duck. Swerve. 2 punching, 2 strikes. 2 more strikes. Cross. Switch. Strike. Cross. Switch. Move right. Move left. Jump up. Boxer shuffle. Duck. Duck. Swerve. Strike. Strike. Cross. Switch. Jump rope. Strike. Cross. Switch. 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 Boxer shuffle. Okay. 30-second rest. So today we're worrying about skill-related fitness components. Agility and power are both skill-related fitness components, so that involves your physical performance. Think athletes, okay? Whereas health-related fitness components, cardiorespiratory endurance, muscular endurance, just go with day-to-day activities and your overall health. All right, here we go. Boxer shuffle. Strike. Strike. Switch. Strike. Strike. Switch. 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 Jump up. Move right. Move left. Move right. Move left. Duck. 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 Strike. Cross. Strike. Cross. Swerve. Swerve. Boxer shuffle. Jump up. Boxer shuffle. Switch. Strike. Cross. Strike. Cross. Switch. Jump up. Move right. Move left. Swerve. 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 Boxer shuffle. Duck. Move left. Move right. Move left. Move right. Boxer shuffle. Switch. Switch. Cross. Move right. Strike. Cross. Strike. Cross. Boxer shuffle. Move right. Move left. Boxer shuffle. Swerve. Swerve. Switch. Switch. Jump rope. And time. Rest. Ooh. We talked about the difference between our health-related fitness component and our skill-related fitness component. So skill is literally what it sounds like. You're skilled. Athletes. Whereas, like I said, health-related fitness components are those everyday activities. Jogging, going to the gym. But I really want you to think about skill-related as far as like athletic performance. Like I said, all sports in some way and physical activity involve speed, agility, and power. It's just about how good you are at them. Which is why we're working on them, because they're important too. All right, everybody, we are to our water break and RPE check. Now remember, rate of perceived exertion can be determined 2 ways. Either by your heart rate, with 2 fingers on the neck to find your pulse, or by the talk test. So if you can hold a conversation with moderate breathing, which I hope you can't at the end of that interval, but if you are, you should be about a 4 to 6. If you're about 76% to 85% of that max heart rate with very heavy breathing and not able to complete more than 2 sentences, probably about a 7-8. And notice that's when we go from aerobic to anaerobic, meaning we're not using oxygen for energy. So we can sustain higher intensity exercises, but for shorter amounts of time. If you cannot complete sentences with even heavier breathing, you're probably at about a 9. And if you're 93 to 100% of your max heart rate, you're probably at about a 10. And remember, in high intensity interval training, it's important to stay between that 65 to 90% max heart rate. You want to stay somewhere in that zone. Ideally, you should shoot up towards that 90%, and then your heart rate comes back down towards about 60 or 70% of your max heart rate, and it keeps doing that over and over again. That's why it's interval training. All right, everybody, welcome to round 3, Zeus versus Hades, part 1. So the first thing I need you to do is right now decide. Don't tell anybody, keep it a secret. Are you team Zeus or are you team Hades? Choose one. And you can't change it. Don't tell anybody. You'll see why I had you do that at the end of round 4, okay? So for this one, now Hades was the god of the underworld, okay? So if you haven't seen Hercules, Hades is by far my favorite Disney villain because he's hilarious. But I have a feeling that the real Hades isn't quite as funny. We're going to watch this video. It's all about Hades. You're going to do fast feet as you watch, okay? So you're here, fast feet, fast feet, fast feet. Every time you hear the word Hades, you're going to do a burpee, okay? So you're going to drop down and back up. Now, you're going to focus on speed, agility, and power. So you really want to think about that quick turnover. When you come back up from your burpee, get up fast, okay? You want to think about agility, so getting right back to those fast feet. Remember, we talked about that change of direction and that power, okay? When you jump up from your burpee, make that jump explosive. So last time we talked about concentric contractions, right? So we talked about where the muscle shortens in order to exert force, okay? So like if you're lifting that dumbbell, that's a concentric contraction. Now, an eccentric contraction is where the muscle lengthens under a load, okay? So the concentric is the shortening. The concentric is usually like considered the hard part. So here, okay, that's the concentric contraction. The eccentric contraction, lengthening back, okay? Not to say the eccentric part isn't hard, but the concentric contraction is usually working against the weight, okay? So I'm gonna really fast, I'm gonna do a breakdown of a concentric and eccentric contraction of a burpee. So burpees, although we hate them, they're wonderful because they're full body workout in just one move, okay? So as you are bending down, okay, your leg muscles, so your quads, your glutes, okay, as you're bending down, these muscles are shortening under load, okay? As you jump back, your quad muscles, your hamstrings, your back muscles, they are all lengthened. So this is an eccentric contraction of those muscles, okay? When I jump back in, same thing. My abs, my quads, my glutes, they are all shortening again, okay? Because remember, that's considered the hard part of the exercise. It can be a little bit confusing, but that's the basics. So like I said, when you're bending down for that, to go back into that push-up position, concentric contraction of those quad muscles, those glutes, okay? Your abs, your back, when you're in this extended position, eccentric contraction, okay? And then you're gonna pull it back in, back to concentric contraction. And like I said, that's just the basics. I just did your leg muscles. As far as your arm muscles, okay, when you are bending down, same thing, okay? They're lengthening right here. As I come up, my arms don't really change here, okay? Because the only time they are under load is when you go down on the ground, okay? And that would actually technically be an isometric contraction because they're not changing. They stay there as you jump your feet back. Okay? So remember, isometric, keep it the same. They're all contractions. Concentric contraction, you're shortening that muscle, and eccentric contraction, you're lengthening the muscle. So the muscle gets longer again. All right, go. Every time you hear the word.
Hades, the lord of the underworld, alongside Poseidon and Zeus, are the trinity of the great Olympian gods. In ancient Rome, this god is known as Pluto. His Roman name refers to the god's wealth. After all, the god of the underworld is also the guardian of all the wealth sources found under the soil, like gold, silver, and gems, which made Hades the richest god of all.
Ooh.
His name Hades means the one who cannot be seen. As he fought alongside the other Olympian gods against the Titans, he was presented by the Cyclops with the Helm of Darkness. This artifact had the power of invisibility.
Remember,
Hades used his
you get 1
helmet
point every
to
time you're up
infiltrate
and down
himself into
3 seconds
the
or
enemy
less.
ranks, deceptively attacking the Titan army. After their victory, Hades and his brothers shared the world. He reigned
I got
over
3
the
points.
underworld, where the souls of the dead were welcomed for their final rest or eternal punishment. Hades had always been quite dedicated to his work, and that is why the god has rarely visited the surface. Although he has his seat in the council of the gods at Olympus, that seat is often empty. In one of his few visits to the world of men, Hades, from the top of his chariot, pulled by powerful black horses, abducted Persephone, the goddess of spring, and took her to his underground palace. The young goddess was Demeter's daughter, the goddess of the harvest and soil fertility. Hades offered pomegranate seeds to her beloved, and, after accepting them, Persephone established an indissoluble bond with her new husband. Demeter could not cope with the loss of her daughter and threatened to make the land barren and frozen forever. With such a threat, it was agreed to share Persephone's guard. She stayed with her husband part of the year and returned to her mother during the other part. This myth explained the origin of the seasons, given that while Persephone was with her husband, the goddess Demeter neglected her tasks, unbridling autumn and winter. When mother and daughter were reunited, flowers emerged again, indicating the arrival of spring. Persephone became the queen of the underworld, and, together with her husband, the couple would forever reign over the dead. Hades was helped by several other deities in his task of ruling the underworld. The judges of death,
7 points for me.
Minos, Sarpedon, and Rhadamanthus, who arbitrated the souls of the recently dead. The Erinyes, who were helpful to punish the criminals, among other deities. Hades seldom interfered with the world of
Take
men
breaks as you
or
need,
with
okay?
the Olympian affairs. One of the few times that Hades turned his attention to the surface was when King Sisyphus of Corinth cheated death with his cunning moves. Thanatos, the god of death, was imprisoned by the king, and then no one died, with Hades no longer receiving newcomers. The god of the underworld was also deceived by the cunning mortal being. Albeit his astuteness, Sisyphus failed to deceive the gods forever, and for his crimes, he was condemned to a terrible punishment in Tartarus, which would last forever. In one of his rare visits to the Olympus, Hades was wounded by Hercules and traveled to the god's dwelling in search of nectar and ambrosia to heal his wound. In the arts, the god is often depicted with a serious semblance, holding his fork, in the company of Cerberus, the hell dog, whose function is to defend the entrance of his master's kingdom. In
So that's
ancient
also in the Disney
times,
version?
the god was treated with the utmost respect. The Greeks avoided pronouncing his name, and when they made sacrifices, they tried not to look at the altar since they wanted to postpone the inevitable encounter with the god as long as possible. Although generally represented as a villain in films such as Clash of the Titans and Disney's Hercules, Hades is not an evil figure. As a matter of fact, several records mention the god's benevolent character, such as when he allows Orpheus to return to the living world with his lover, Eurydice, or even when he agrees to share his wife with his mother-in-law. But the god was merciless with those who committed dreadful sins. They were thrown into Tartarus and endured terrible torments. Hades is not known for his marital infidelity, contrary to Zeus and Poseidon, but he is no saint as well. The god even had affairs with some nymphs. The most famous was the beautiful and proud nymph Mintha. She fueled the rage of Demeter and Persephone and was turned into the plant that shares the nymph's name. The god had a small offspring, among whom Macaria was the most famous, the goddess of blessed death. Those who love mythology are particularly interested in Hades, for he is a source of fear and fascination.
So, I got 13 points. I know I didn't hear every time you said it. You might have gotten more than me. Round 4, Zeus versus Hades part 2. Okay, so remember, you still know your team. Are you Zeus or Hades? Don't tell me yet. We're not going to worry about Zeus. Okay, so now this time you are going to run in place. Every time you hear the word Zeus, you're going to do a tuck jump. Okay? Focus on speed and agility and power here. Again, you get 1 point every time you are up and down in 3 seconds or less. Keep track of those points. You're going to add these to your other points from the Hades round. 1 point for every time you do it in less than 3 seconds. All right.
Zeus is the supreme god of Greek mythology. On his throne on Mount Olympus, he reigns over the universe. He is the son of the Titans Cronus and Rhea. His father was the god who reigned before the birth of Zeus. A prophecy foresaw that one of the sons of Cronus would be more powerful than the father and dethrone him. To avoid this fate, Cronus devoured his children after birth, but Zeus managed to escape. His mother deceived Cronus and caused the Titan to swallow a stone instead of the baby. Zeus was secretly raised and breastfed by Amalthea. As an adult, he challenged his father and freed his brothers, who were imprisoned in Cronus' stomach. A great war between gods and titans broke out, in a conflict that became known as Titanomachy. After the victory over the Titans, Zeus shared power with his brothers. Poseidon reigned over the seas, Hades ruled the underworld, and Zeus commanded the heavens and the earth. But before consolidating his power, he faced and defeated the giants in the Gigantomachy. Zeus also had a final challenge, to face the powerful monster Typhon. He was defeated in their first fight, but avenging himself, he managed to defeat and imprison Typhon on Mount Etna. As Lord of the universe, Zeus worked to establish order and justice in the world. He was associated with the duty of hospitality. The good hosts left Zeus very pleased and could be favored by him. But those who disrespected that duty could be seriously punished by Zeus. The god had several powers, among them the ability to control the rains and storms. Using his lightning and thunder, he showcased his power. Zeus was also able to decide the course of a battle. Whoever was favored by the god was certainly victorious. Therefore, he is often represented with Nike, the goddess of victory, in his hand. The sovereign of the universe was married to the goddess Hera. With the queen, he had important children like Hephaestus, the god of forges, and Mars, the god of war. But Zeus had many other loves besides Hera. He fell in love with other several goddesses, nymphs, and beautiful mortals. He had a vast and glorious offspring. With the goddess Leto, he had the Olympic gods Apollo and Artemis. With the mortal Semele, he had Dionysius, god of wine and ecstasy. Zeus was also the father of famous demigods such as Hercules and Perseus. But among all her children, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, who was born out of Zeus's head, was his favorite. His wife was deeply jealous, and to escape her vigilance, Zeus took several different forms. He became a bull to get involved with beautiful Europe, a swan to seduce Leda, and a cuckoo to conquer Hera. Once, the gods of Olympus revolted against Zeus and imprisoned him. But, with the help of Briareus, the giant Hecatoncheires, he managed to escape and put an end to the rebellion. Zeus was venerated throughout the Greek world. One of the temples built in his honor was in Olympia. Inside, there was an enormous statue of the god, sculpted by Phidias, the most renowned sculptor of ancient Greece. His work became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Olympic Games in the city of Olympia were a great celebration in honor of Zeus. In the arts, the god is represented as a mature, strong, and majestic man, with a crown of oak leaves and accompanied by an eagle, the animal associated with the god. In Rome, the god became known as Jupiter. He was also venerated. His main temple was on Capitoline Hill. The most powerful of the Olympic gods was worshipped throughout Europe due to the achievements of the Roman legions. The conquered peoples sometimes assimilated the worship of God in syncretism with the native deities.
Hope you're keeping track.
The cult of the Olympic gods may have gone into decline, but the various myths of Zeus continue to marvel people of all ages.
All right. All right, guys, so just to review, vocabulary: speed is the ability to move your body and all of its parts quickly. Okay? Agility is the ability of the body to change direction and position while maintaining constant speed. And power is the ability to move each body part quickly while applying max force to the muscles in use. We worked on all 3 of those today in pretty much every exercise, okay? In every round. Why are they important though? Why do we need those? We talked about the difference between skill and health-related fitness components. So remember, if you want to be good at a sport or not physical activity, you have to work on these skill-related fitness components. They enhance your physical performance, okay? Like I said, every single agility, man. I can think of soccer, football. Think about when you're running routes, okay? HIIT workouts. You're constantly changing the direction and the placement of your body. Power, again, boxing, baseball, when you hit the ball, golf, okay? You're using max force of those muscles while you're still moving quickly. And as far as speed, like I said, that's 100-meter dash, okay? Like I said, that going back to football, soccer, you got to be quick. Gymnastics, running towards the vault. They are running at max speed, okay? So these are very prominent in most every sport and physical activity. Now, and they are important to improve our physical performance. Now, if you chose Team Zeus, I want you to put your number in the chat right now of how many points you got for round 3 and 4. So for Hades and Zeus, how many points you got altogether? If you were Team Zeus, or did I say, no, if you were Team Hades, I want you to drop your numbers in the chat right now for how many points you got. Be honest. If you're Team Zeus, now I want you to drop your number in the chat. Please also tell me which team you're on. So either include an H or a Z. I'm going to tally up the points, and the team that won the most points gets 5 bonus points added to their passport. So, if you didn't work hard and you didn't contribute to your team, hopefully somebody else did. This is a team effort. All right, everybody, we are back with our cool down. Here we go. Guys, now we are going to move on to our cool down, okay? So you need to find some personal space. You are going to perform the following exercises in your own space. When you see the thumbs up or you hear the word switch, you will switch, okay? As you are doing this, I want you to check your RPE, okay? Find your heart rate. Where are you right now? You should probably be around 7, 8, coming down to 4 to 6. Okay, we just worked really hard. So yeah, check your heart rate and then use that to find where you are on the rate of perceived exertion chart. Now, here we go. We are going to be jogging. This is also your time to get a water break. So just jog it out. And even if that timer is done, we can still continue. So once the timer is done, then we'll move on to our static stretching. We're bringing the heart rate back down, getting ready to head to your next class. Okay, it's never a good idea to stop high intensity exercise without cooling down. Okay, so we jogged. Now we got our arm across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. Side stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. Quad stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. Toe touch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. And now is your free stretch. So stretch anything else you want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so remember, drink that water and check your RPE. Where are you on the scale? Good job. All right, we are back with our review preview. We are going to review our questions for the day, our vocabulary, and our plan for the next day. So our questions for the day were, why are speed, agility, and power important in sport and physical activity? So we talked about, remember, that's improving your physical performance, okay? Like I said, think athletes. In order to succeed at a sport, you need these skill-related fitness components at a competitive level. That's why these athletes are insanely fit. What sports physical activities involve speed, agility, and power? Like I said, basically every sport involves one of the three, and physical activity involves one of the three of those in some way. What is the difference between health-related fitness components and skill-related fitness components? Again, think about health-related. You just want to maintain that health-enhancing level of fitness as you go. Skill-related is kind of up in the ante a little bit. You're improving your physical performance so you can be in peak physical condition. Our vocabulary, speed, the ability to move your body and all of its parts quickly. We definitely worked on that today. Agility, the ability of the body to change direction and position while maintaining constant speed. Power, the ability to move each body part quickly while applying max force of the muscle in use. We did that with those tuck jumps and those burpees. Okay, those are definite power moves. Concentric contraction. So we talked about, remember, when that muscle is shortening to exert a force. And as it does that, like I said, think about this as the hard phase of the exercise, whereas an eccentric contraction, you lengthen. And like I said, it doesn't mean that the eccentric contraction isn't challenging. It's just usually the concentric contraction is going against the force. It's moving the force in the difficult way. So concentric, eccentric, and isometric. Do that with me. Isometric, concentric, eccentric, all the way lengthened, okay? All the way lengthened. Now, anaerobic exercise. So remember, we talked about aerobic exercise, which we use the oxygen that we breathe in and it goes to our blood and then goes to the rest of our body. We use that for aerobic exercise because it's usually not as high intensity, but it's for an extended period of time. So like marathon runners, they do not sprint the entire time. They run at a good pace, whatever pace is good for them. So they're using that oxygen as they go to keep them going. Whereas anaerobic, which is what we worked on today, is exercise that is high in intensity but shorter in length, okay? So those sprint bursts that we did, very much anaerobic exercise because it's high intensity but shorter in length. Those tuck jumps, those burpees, everything we did in the Greek boxing rounds, okay? That is all anaerobic exercise because it's short in intensity. I mean, it's short in length, but high in intensity. You use converted glucose, which is sugar, okay, as energy in your body. There is not enough oxygen in your blood to supply these types of exercises, which is why you have to use stored energy in order to complete these exercises. Now, daily challenge. I will be able to test my speed during the stayed by running 252 steps as fast as I possibly can. Remember, 12 points for 45 seconds or less. 46 to 60 seconds, 8 points. 61 to 70 seconds, 4 points. And more than 70 seconds is 2 points. So how did you do? Did you do as well as you thought you were going to do? How can you do better next time? What was your biggest challenge today? What surprised you? What was your biggest success? And like I said, you will get a chance for challenge redemption. So that SMART goal check-in, think about what you want to be improving next time. Do you want to try and shave 3 seconds off of your time? Think about that because you're going to set a SMART goal for this next time when you do your challenge redemption, okay? Hellison's model. Now, were you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0 today? And why? If you weren't at least a 3 or above, what do you think you can do next time in order to improve? All right, everybody, I will see you next time. We are going to work on reaction time, coordination, and balance for day 5, Nigeria. I'll see you later.